Good afternoon. On behalf of Tecnicelpa Board, please feel welcome to our second section of Tecnicelpa Innovation Talks entitled Weight Products. My first words are for all those who tried to join us yesterday, and these words are to present our apology. A severe communication problem did not allow us to reach you in the live session. I hope that at least some of you had the opportunity to see the video we sent by email. For those who didn't, and for the ones joining us today for the first time, yesterday I have to say that we had the chance to see the context on which industrial companies should implement their R&D strategies. The message was delivered by ANI, the Portuguese Innovation Authority, by CEPI, the European Confederation of Pulp Producers, by FELPA, the Portuguese Pulp and Paper Industry Association, and last but not least, by Centro Pinus, non-profit organization, including companies related to pine forest value chain. Before starting the section, please let me spend a few minutes to present Tecnicelpa Association. Born in 1980, in a time where social networks like Facebook, Instagram, and so on were still something to come in the future, the first aim of this association was to bring together technicians of major pulp and paper companies and to create relationship between them. Soon after that, the association realized that we could deliver also skilled technical knowledge. 40 years after that, words like knowledge and relation become part of our DNA. But how to prove our success? Just a few numbers for you to see. Till now, in these 40 years of existence, we already made 25 international conferences, normally every second year. In these conferences, we include more than 600 scientific works produced by more than 2,000 scientists. We issue 66 numbers of our technical magazine covering issues related with the actual themes that bother our industry. And last, we have an offer of every year around 4 to 6 training events related with technical matters. Okay, let's talk about our technical conferences. Technical conferences are that we organize every second year are the best moment and the best place for industry and academy to join together and share the results of their R&D work on the previous 2 years. It's also a time to reward those who deliver the best performance on research work, and above all, it's time, as the slide you may see, is the time and the place to celebrate. Pandemic times, as you may see also, obliged us to use new technologies, but we are already looking forward to better times that allow us to join together once again. Regarding publishing issues, we may say that we had a first edition of our bulletin in 1999, a long time ago, but we are still publishing magazines related with the most important aspects for our industry. So you may say sustainable forest, the replacement of plastics by new materials, and last, the circular economy. Returning to the basics, so knowledge is rather important, and you may see on the event some events that we realized over the time regarding basic concepts, new technologies. Well, this is our presentation of Tecnicelpa in a short pictures. And so let me introduce now our chairman for today. Being one of the most known persons in our industry, Mr. Dolores Ferreira is a chemical engineer from Oporto University. He has devoted a substantial part of his 47 years of career to the forest sector. He worked for some of the biggest Portuguese companies like Sonae, Soporcel, Raiz and Portocel, now with the name of the Navigator Company. And in the last 20 years for the Altri Group, where he developed and managed the products of bleached pulp in the now named Biotech Company, and in the integration of this company in the tissue paper. He also worked in introducing the biomass business within the group and the dissolving pulp project of Caima Pulp Mill. He retired in December 2020 and he enjoys life now as a senior consultant for strategy. We have today, I have to say, a very special chairman here. And so allow me to skip a little bit the protocol of this event and to put on the air a personal note. And I have to say, regarding this, as my final words about our chairman for this section, that is for me really a deep honor to have here today with us someone that I had the privilege to work for and is seen by most of us as one of the most brilliant minds of forest-based industry in Portugal. So thank you, enjoy the event, and I leave the floor to Dolores Ferreira.
Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, João, for nice words. When we are old men, sometimes we listen to these kind of things. And thank you for all the speakers that are with us today, for your time. And for the nice presentations we are going to listen. I need to say that the majority of our audience is probably working in the field of pulp and paper. So they are normally very, very curious of what you are doing as IKEA or what we are doing as a Sonae or Arauco or what you are doing on the cork business. Everybody knows champagne bottles, but not much more about cork. So I like also to thank Tecnicelpa to organize this event. I think it's very important that everybody gets together and discuss the innovation, which is now a key issue for the, I would say, for the survival of Europe. Let me say another words. Normally we say good afternoon, everyone, but with the audience we have, we need to say good morning, good afternoon, and also good evening. I think those who are in Helsinki deserve a good evening for them. Let's start our session today. And during the presentations, the audience may ask questions and place questions in Q&A. And we will answer the questions, plus some questions that I need to do, at the end of the session. So we will have 3 sessions, and at the end we will have a Q&A session. And let me introduce our first speaker, which is Nuno Santos. Nuno Santos is development manager of IKEA Industry, Portugal. So we are all very curious about innovation, how innovation works in IKEA. And he has a degree on business management from Catholic University, and he has been working for AMORIM industry in the past. So he knows also something about corks and champagne. Nuno, the floor, not the floor, the screen is yours. Now we are now in a new mood, so it's not the floor, it's the screen. Please, go ahead.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all participants. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about innovation at IKEA and how we actually go from innovation into our hot topics, which are basically circular economy and sustainability. We at IKEA, and this is something that I need to share with you. I am not speaking in behalf of IKEA. I'm speaking on behalf of IKEA industry. It seems the same, but we're cousins, not really siblings. We share the same values, the same shareholders, but IKEA Retail, which is the branch of IKEA that most people are familiar with, is basically our clients. Okay, so how do we align innovation with circular economy at IKEA and in this way also IKEA industry? For us, everything that we do is based on actually a principle that's called the democratic design. And this democratic design principle has been used for at least 50 years at IKEA to quantify what we want out of a product and how it performs in terms of these five angles that you see: form, function, quality, sustainability, and low price. So for us, a product has to be a balance between all of these five forces. And these five forces contribute, at least for us, at the first stage, at beginner stage, to quantify sustainability. But as the years progressed in the world economy, this idea of sustainability is lacking in terms of not only sustainability for economic growth, but also sustainability in terms of environment and social responsibility. So basically, what we did, we derived a lot of functions from this type of approach, the democratic design approach, into what is a circular economy. So what is a circular economy for IKEA? And this is fundamental to understand that IKEA right now realizes that the lack of forestry products and raw matter is going to be a problem in the next few years, and we of course need to prepare and at least try to innovate in terms of how to meet those demands. Okay, so basically, circular for us is being part of an ecosystem, and this ecosystem that we talk about is our ranges of products, especially those that are wood derived or wood based. Of course, you know from your retail experience that IKEA makes a lot of products based on wood, and also not only solid wood, but essentially and mostly now from derived products of wood. So particle boards, MDFs, and some others. This for us is something that we need to understand how to increase the recyclability of materials that we use. We understand that when we make a product, we are incarcerating that raw matter for at least 10 years. And we need to understand how to tap into those resources once again, as we make sure that our products are long life enough so that we can view them as a product bank afterwards. We also are very, let's say, we're working very hard with our partners, especially our suppliers like Sonae, Arauco, to eliminate waste. And this for us, eliminating waste is mostly in two axes. The first axis is to eliminate or to decrease process tolerance so that we use less material for any given product. And the other one is reusing our own waste. How can we develop our industrial waste and turn it into a viable source of raw matter? Right? And the final aspect here, which is something that you're going to see later on in my presentation, is that bio-based materials are now something that IKEA and IKEA industry are very invested in. We are creating roadmaps to transition from fossil-based materials into bio-based materials. And this is something that needs to happen in a considerably short amount of time. This is all very well and good, but how do we program innovation for this? Okay, how do we innovate from this? So we take our 5 points of democratic design, and we add some 9 rules of the circular economy. Okay? And we make sure that our products are designed in a certain way or a specific way that meets these requirements. And this is something that for us is an ongoing, let's say, road. And we are undertaking the most, let's say, I would say, the most activities that we can to assure that this happens. So we design products to have an expected lifespan, meaning that we are increasing the lifespan of the products that we make. We use and we make sure that we use renewable or recycled materials. This is something that has been going on for quite some time. We make sure that they are recyclable as well, our products. We design for production, and this design for production is aimed at less waste. Okay, we standardize and we make compatible platforms so that we can have similar ways of working within industry, and we can, without a lot of problems, interchange not only the tools that we use, but also the suppliers that we use. We designed all products now for adaptability and upgradability, meaning that our products are not only designed for a single use or single case use scenario. We try to give the products more functionality so that if you want to upgrade them in the future by adding drawers or by adding something else, you can do that. We are also engaging in activities that increase the repairability of our furniture. And this also is, let's say, materialized in some initiatives that we've been having ongoing, especially the trade-ins for used products. You can in some stores you can take your old IKEA furniture and trade it in for a voucher so that you can buy new furniture in our stores. We then repair them and resell them if possible. If not, we recycle them. Okay? One of the points that we've been taking very to heart is this assembly and reassembly product processes. Most people find that putting together an IKEA piece of furniture is reasonably simple, but disassembling them and reassembling them is quite another story. We, of course, also try to convey the emotional connection that we have within our brand, so that the furniture has emotional connection with the clients, so that they understand what IKEA stands for and what we do to get the furniture into their hands. So, and then this is trying to summarize as much as possible what is our vision for 2030. And these are from those 9 rules that we've discussed. We have some mandatory rules that must happen until 2030, and this must happen is for us it's really mandatory, and we're making everything possible to make it happen. So materials from bio-based sources must be able to be recycled. Okay, so this is something that we know that we need to replace the fossil-based products into bio-based products, and this has to happen until 2030. The products have to have components that can originate other products, meaning that the platforms that we are now creating and deploying into our stores, which might not really be known by everybody, they have a possibility to be, let's say, disassembled, and then you can replace parts, you can repair them, and you can add other stuff so that you have another type of furniture. This product repairability program is something that we are very focused on so that we can reduce wood usage in our business, and also, of course, reuse of furniture so that we can have a second market, or even in some cases rent, like a kitchen or something like that. So basically, the mandate that we have for innovation and circular economy is based on these 4 rules. So when we talk about innovation, when we talk about what we do at IKEA industry specifically, we talk about meeting our clients' goals, which is the goals of IKEA as our client, and also the goals or the needs of IKEA clients in general. This is a balance that needs to be struck within the let's say, how we do things, and this is how we readapt and we recombine democratic design with circular economy. This is something that we understand, let's say, as people that work within IKEA industry. This is our thinking process, how we approach a problem, okay? And this is how we map the products that are going to production. Basically, we're a contract-based, let's say, industry, as I have contracts with IKEA, and then I develop how to materialize the products. So it's not as if IKEA as the brand owner and the design owner does all the work. They do most of the design aspects, okay? And then when that is placed into order, then the industrial units have to think about how to materialize and how to do it in the most efficient way possible. And this is, let's say, the guiding principle of how to do this. I hope it was interesting for you. I think we'll save the questions for later on, and I would like to thank you for your attention. And thank you.
Well, thank you, Nuno. It was crystal clear. I think everybody understood this democratic approach that we don't have in some pulp mills and paper mills, but this democratic design is something new for us. And there will be for sure very much questions for you at the end of the session. And now we move to Isabel. Isabel, she works for Sonae Arauco. I also was in Sonae some decades ago, but in those days it was just Sonae. So Isabel is a chemical engineer with a degree, a PhD degree also in chemical engineer, and he has also a degree in management from Nova School of Business and Economics. And she is now the product development manager of Sonae Arauco since September 2019. And she is responsible for managing and development activities for Sonae Arauco plants in Germany, Spain, and Portugal. And she has 13 years of experience in product development focused on forest-based products for different industries. She is also known from some of the audience because she has been working on paper and pulp industry before at Navigator. Isabel, the screen is yours. The screen is yours.
Thank you all, and welcome. And yes, I believe that some people in the audience might meet me from my previous work at the Navigator company. I'm here today on behalf of Sonae Arauco, addressing the challenge that they launched us to share some Okay, sorry, I believe there was an issue with the micro. I was saying that, I don't know which part you listened, but as I said, some of the audience might know me from my previous work at the Navigator company. And I'm here today on behalf of Sonae Arauco to share, following the challenge of Tecnicelpa, to share how we see innovation, how we do it in different areas of our company. I bring you some examples not only related to product development, that is what my team is focused on, but also in other areas of the company, and also considering the forum, some highlights of how we do and what we deliver to the market. Every time I change the slide, I think I'm losing the sound. I don't know why, but okay, I will try to look into it. So as a wood-based producer, Sonae Arauco intends to create value from forest. And creating value from forest is address the needs of our customers and delivering them what they need based on our decorative solutions, our constructive system solutions. And with that, we try to deliver them and to build with them long-lasting partnerships and strong partnerships, as we do, for instance, with one of our customers, that is IKEA Industry, that you have just listened. And to feed this business model of delivering the solutions to our customers, how we do that? What we do is we try to understand the global macro trends that drive our industry. And from that, we build pillars to develop the evolution of our solutions and the new solutions that we deliver to the market. And currently, based on the macro trends that were analyzed from all over the sources available, we are working based on three main pillars, which is the functionality. Our boards need to deliver in terms of properties, and they need to fit for the application. Either it is a simple table or a very complex furniture piece. They need to be sustainable. At this point, that is not an option for any of us working in any industry, but in the forest-based industry, that's also a key factor. But also the question of emotionality that also Nuno just spoke about. Our boards need to be able to allow the final user of the piece of furniture, of the room where the boards are applied, need to deliver feelings to them. They need to feel warm if they are in a warm environment. They need to feel excited if they are in a workplace. They need to feel motivated. So all of this needs to be combined and needs to be combined into a product. And currently, those are the pillars that we use to develop, to innovate in our company and in our products very, very specifically. Currently, our products are divided, our portfolio of products delivers solutions grouped in three groups, which is the core and technical collection, which has different types of products. The Innovos collection, which is where we group all the decorative products which have already a finishing applied to it. You look into the board and you see already a marble or a wood, or you see a very shiny board, a very shiny color, and also our constructive system, the AGEPA system, which delivers construction solutions. And those are the solutions that we are currently delivering into the market. And to deliver those solutions, of course, we need to develop, we need to innovate, and of course, everything needs to start in the forest. And that's the first innovation example that I have to share with you, is our Radiata project, which is one of the first, or maybe the very first big innovation project from Sonae Arauco in the forest area. I would say that is the most loved project in the company nowadays by everybody. And instead of speaking, I asked the technical support to share a 1.5 short video about this project to share with you so that you can understand it a bit better. I don't know if the technical support can. I hope you enjoyed this project as much as we do at Sonae Arauco. And after the forest, I have some notes to share with you about our process innovation project, which is the Industry 4.0 project, called very simply. And in this case, we started back in 2015 with the implementation in our plant in Spain, in Valladolid, of process control innovations that allowed to have something that was at the time not common in this industry, which is to have real-time information on the factories, continuous information. And on top of that, it was built a machine learning concept to try to anticipate quality issues that might come based on the process conditions and allow the colleagues to solve those issues before they arrive at the final product. And this effort has been recognized in the market with awards across the time. In 2016, the Big Data Business Initiative was awarded with a prize in Spain by the transformation that it represents. Also in 2019, the digital transformation of our plants was awarded with an international award, and most recently, an evolution of these projects that was the Zero Defects 4.0 project that intended precisely to take to a different level this prediction of quality, potential quality issues in the product before they happen, was also nominated for an European award. This is something that is innovation inside, is a combination of production and IT support. It is a project that is being done in the 3 countries that we have plants, and across time is delivering very good results. And product innovation, which is the one that my team is responsible for. And we work every day to transform ideas into materials, into products that we deliver to the market, that we develop sometimes by our own initiative, sometimes already with the cooperation of our customers, of specific customers that identify needs. And how we do it? We work with the innovation funnel concept, which is we have an idea generation process that we try to feed with as many ideas as possible, with different sources, either from the sales, either from the customer, either from events that we do specifically with this objective, either from the analysis of the trend, as I explained before. Those ideas inside this process, they are valued. They are evaluated. For instance, one of the first items is the reality check, because some ideas in this process are meant to be a bit out of reality. And at the end, the most valuable ones enter the product development process. And the product development processes transforms this idea. The first step is transforming the idea into a project. And that means that the idea is again evaluated, but already with a specific concept of which value can deliver to the market and which value can bring and profitability can bring to the company. This process is designed to allow us to focus our resources into the most valuable projects, and allows us, with the stage gating concept that it represents, it allows us to act in a very agile way, that when the circumstances of the market change, and sometimes in this industry they change quite fast, a product is being developed and it might in the middle become less relevant than it was in the beginning, and so it will come to a point that it will be dropped without being completed because it's no longer delivering value for the company in the end. So after this idea, we have a phase of very strong evaluation where we do the conception, the evaluation of the project. Then we go to the execution, the industrial execution of the projects, of implementing the innovative concept that we developed. It can be in one plant, it can be in several plants, same country or different countries. It depends on the specific development. Is already typically always with at least one customer that will test the product, that will give us the feedback. And at the end, it is decided if we want to launch it, if we are going to continue to supply it only to the customer that worked with it, that worked on it with us, or if it will be a broad launch, and how we are going to share it with the market. Something that we also do afterwards to understand the value of the innovations that we are putting into the market is the evaluation of, or what we call the post-launch evaluation, which is sometime after the product reaches a maturity period that we defined in each case. We evaluate to understand if the value that was promised by this development is delivered in the end. Because, as I said, sometimes the market changes, the volatility of the market is in some situations high, and we need to understand if the value promised is at the end delivered. So this is the concept with we work, how we tackle innovation in terms of product development. And I have to share with you two specific examples of the most disruptive innovations that we did recently. The first one is the 3DF product, which is a three-dimensional fiberboard, meaning it's an MDF, but that to create design in this board, you use pressure and temperature. And the design is not created with tools, it's created with a press that is used in a plain board. Then you apply pressure and temperature, and you create several types of designs or curves that without any kind of waste and with a lot of reduction in the processing time. And that allows, for instance, if you see this design in the bottom of the slide, where you have a brown, which is a not painted board, and a white, which is a painted board, the difference in the end, in the final cost of production is 50%. Using 3DF compared to a normal MDF, it costs more or less 50% less to the end producer of the piece. So it's a huge innovation, both in terms of capability, because it has less steps in the process, as savings, economical savings for the users of these boards. So it was a breakthrough in the market, and it was also awarded for it with several innovation awards related to this product. The most relevant one being the one achieved at Interzoom in 2019, in which this product was awarded with the high product quality category winning prize. And Interzoom is the most recognized event in this industry. So it's something that, of course, leaves us very, very proud to have happened. Also, in the surfaced materials, in this case is when you have a raw board with the surfacing applied on it. We have recently an innovation in terms of combination of a design with a texture. In this case is the Feel Light Gray design, which is a textile, the kind of design which is like a felt design, combined with our Cosmos texture that was developed by ourselves 3 years ago, more or less. And this is something that combined delivered a product that has been very well accepted in the market as transferring the sense of comfort and giving a very positive feeling to those using this, for instance, in closets. It's being very well recognized in the market for that, presenting all the advantages of a surfaced board with the feeling that, like I said in the beginning, is something that is more and more relevant in our industry, is how people feel when looking into a decor. And also in this case, it was recently awarded with a design award in Germany for this development. And finally, an innovation that we are also very proud of, not product related, but related with internal communication. It is our Wood Made Stories magazine, which was developed back in 2019 and is being continued until today, which is a magazine that was awarded also, is a magazine focused in internal communication, in bringing all the people working in Sonae Arauco, sharing their stories, sharing relevant topics inside the company and also in the market that we move, and sharing with everybody in all the geographies of the company. This is a communication piece that is innovative in the sense of bringing people together with information, but also only for internal purpose. And it's recently won an award in the employee publication magazine. So something that we are also, of course, proud of. And with this, sharing with you examples of innovations that we have inside the company, since the forest to the product to communication. I end my communication. I hope you have enjoyed, and any question, I will answer, of course. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Isabel. It was also very clear, your message, and I'm a little bit astonished about what you are doing in Sonae Arauco now. I would like to ask the audience if you have some questions, please use the Q&A and ask your questions so that you can organize the Q&A section at the end of this meeting. Now, let me introduce José Pedro Fernandes. He works for Corticeira AMORIM, and he has a degree, he is a PhD on biology from the Aveiro University and Ghent University in Belgium. And he is responsible for the quality, environment, and research and development area in AMORIM Florestal, and he is also executive director of that company. And he coordinates all the projects on in the industrial and forest sector of Corticeira AMORIM. José Pedro, the screen is yours.
Hi everyone. First of all, thank you for the invitation on behalf of Corticeira AMORIM. I'm here representing one of the companies that are on the base of all the Corticeira AMORIM structures. So we are at AMORIM Florestal. We are responsible for all the raw material preparation and buying to supply all the groups, all the operations ahead and further on the group. And today I would like to present you a bit of our structure of our company, but also one of the projects that we are implementing in the past 2, 3 years that are of the utmost importance for all the chain and for all the supply chain on the group. First of all, some facts and figures. We are talking, and I think it's for most of us that know, we are the largest global exporter of cork, one of the oldest companies on the world. We celebrated past year 150 years, so quite long for now, and we hope to be at least another 150. We are the largest rolls processing company. We are present worldwide. More than 27,000 customers, 94% of sales are outside of Portugal. So quite a big company, despite the volume, but also a very traditional and a very familiar company. One of the key numbers that I would like to highlight in this slide is the last point, that are the research and development that we are invest in the past years, and it is around 10 million euros for R&D, and these figures are growing every year, especially with the forest projects that are taking a huge part of this investment, but also the internal projects that we are developing continuously that are of great importance for the company. To present you a bit with the structure, we are composed by mainly 5 units. The AMORIM Florestal, where we are now, is responsible for all the buying and preparation of raw material. That then we supply all this prepared raw material or prepared cork to the other units. The AMORIM Cork, it is responsible for the cork stoppers producing. Cork flooring, as the name indicates, produces floors. Cork composites, that produces, I would say, almost everything we can imagine. So there's a lot of different products that came out of these units. And cork insulation, that produces the materials that are used today for insulation in houses and other structures that are very common and very well known for everybody, I suppose. I believe just this figure with some of the things that we do much more than cork stoppers. We can do shoes, we can do materials for the space shuttle. We have a protocol with ESA, the European Space Agency, for more than 20 years, where we produce some of the layers for the capsule, for the return the capsule, because cork can resist, or a compound using cork can resist the temperatures of the entrance in the atmosphere of the planet. So there are quite applications, and also quite a lot of partnerships. Some of them, there are people here, IKEA also, so a lot of projects, a lot of partnerships, and we like these challenges, these different companies from all different areas that actually can reach us and can use cork in so many different applications. But for that, we have a strategy, because we can't do everything. Cork, unfortunately, is a limited product, and we need to put our sustainable strategy ahead and implement it as much as possible, because nowadays the sustainability is the key of the moment. And we also have a sustainable strategy that I would like to share with you a bit before we go to one of our main projects in this area. Our sustainability strategy, it's focused on three pillars: the social, the environmental, and the socio-economic. It's clear for us that we need to have all these three areas combined to promote and to have a sustainability that can be solid to go through these rough times into the future, because we have a lot of difficulties in this sector, whether it are human resources or raw material availability or skills or whatever. And this sustainable strategy ensures that we can go further, can take the next steps with solid steps, with solid ground, and to make it go further and thrive even more than we are today. For that, we defined some main targets that I'm sharing with you for the next 3 years. And one of them, it's most important, is the cork oak forests. Actually, we are seeing in Portugal and Spain and all the Mediterranean basin, cork oak forests are being a little bit stagnated. So there's not much investment in cork oak forests, and they are as they are. They're just staying, and people are trying to make a profit each 9 years by extracting cork, but nothing significant is being done in this field that could support the future and could provide a sustainable future and a bright future for the cork oak forest. And for that, we decided internally, similar as Sonae, we decided to start a project based on forestry, but with cork oak, and to promote a different strategy than the one that is being followed since today. And we decided to have this in 3 different approaches. One, pure investigation, where we defined and we wanted to ensure and preserve the cork oak forest, but with very well defined strategies and goals in order to promote and to have better results quite rapidly. So we decided, and this is a very big slide, I'm not going to read them all, but there are some key messages that are important. Cork oak has a very long first extraction cycle, about 25 or 30 years after plantation. So this is a very long period that has a very low return attractability for producers. So it is important to have a selection of trees that can adapt easier, that can grow faster, that can produce better cork quality, in order to make this system, these new plantations, attractive to the forest producers or to the cork oak producers. But also some important things. It's not only important to produce new cork oak trees, but also to produce resistant cork oak trees to droughts, to plagues, to pests and diseases, because this is also a very key critical factor in our industry. Some 90 or 80% of our raw material suffers from some kind of defect, and usually are defects that are resultant from or pests or diseases from the trees, and that they have a depreciation, a huge depreciation in cork value. And so these are some of the most important lines that we are following. How do we put this in the field? Because it's not only words, we have to put this on the field. We created a forest intervention program that is basically divided in 3 areas. Sorry, a forest management office, where we can coordinate new plantations, we can have technical support for producers, we have an office where people can come and ask and take any doubts they have, make any questions they have, and we will help as long as we can, any possible questions for any producers. We also have an applied forestry R&D department where we take it more into the field. I would like to put it like that because it's easier. We try to do with this research practical work, field work. We are trying irrigation, fertilization, nutrition, interaction, soil, plant. These are tests that are made in the field, that are using the existing plantations, but also new plantations. They are done outside the lab. And then we have a latest line that is fundamental for us, R&D, that is the cork oak improvement program. This is the one that I'm going to explore a little bit more in the next few slides, because this is the basis for all the others. It is important for all the new plantations to come, that they have some kind of guarantee of success, not only survival success, but also quality success, growth success, resilience to droughts, to climate changes. This is important, and for that we need to make a selection of plants and to have a strategy for the next few years. So I'll put it basically in 4 questions: what we want, how to do it, when will we have it, and what we are doing so far. And that's what I'll explain you in the next slide. So we want to have plus cork oak trees in 2 years. We want to increase the frequency. We want to produce trees that are selected from the field. Phenotypically, we are visualizing trees in the field. We select them and we multiply them, and we have different trees with origins known and with characteristics that are actually good for the producers, good for the industry, and that are sustainable for the future in terms of cork production and quality production. They need to have a few characteristics to be a plus cork oak. They need to have a rapid growth. They need to have a resistance to droughts, resistance to cork oak borer. That's a plague that affects, that's an insect that creates galleries in cork. And they need to be, last but not least, also good cork quality producers. This is important. We are doing it how? 2 strategies. We are following 2 converging paths. We are going in one way by plant producing directly from phenotypic selection. We are selecting trees based on their characteristics. We go to the forest, we identify trees that are outstanding among the others, and then we produce them. On the other hand, we are genotyping, and we are searching for molecular markers that are characteristic from these kind of phenotypes that we want, these traits that we want to follow. So these 2 paths will some way along the time will converge and will ensure one and the other. We have a few lines, we have a few markers, then we can validate those markers in the lines we have, and then we'll have pure lines of cork oaks from different origins with different resistances, different growths that we can orientate to different kinds of plantations. This is a complicated map, but it's basically all the steps that I talked about. We select the trees, and then we collect material. We start the plant production in this green board by two techniques, micropropagation and somatic embryogenesis. A little bit complicated, perhaps, but we are trying to achieve it. Very good results so far. And then we produce plants. These plants, on the other hand, will be validated by molecular markers that we are trying to find by genotyping and sequencing a lot of different trees from different origins and characteristics. Our plan is to have this in 3 years. We started 1.5 years with this program, the genetic markers, so we expect in the beginning of 2023 that we'll have a few thousands of plants to put on the field and to start the program to validate it on the field and to see how they behave and how they respond to the characteristics that we actually identified in the beginning from their mothers, to see if they actually are able to be defined as a plus line. What are we doing so far in terms of this strategy? We are following these 2 lines of planting production. The first row, you can see some steps of plant micropropagation. We are actually selecting few branches from trees in the field plus trees in the field, and we are multiplying them in vitro and then producing plants from these explants that we selected from the plants. And the second one, we are inducing in the same lines, is a different way, somatic embryogenesis and producing plants directly via this approach, via somatic embryogenesis, already with a very good results. And we are scaling very fast this embryo production in order to have a system that can be used more industrially than just at a lab scale. In parallel, we are also validating some markers for phenotypes of interest. Like I said, for growth, we have already sequenced a few thousands of candidates, a few thousands of trees, and we have so far 309 SNPs that are candidates, some 309 markers, genetic markers that can identify or relate to characteristics of interest, and those can be used as a simple test to identify plants for this kind of traits. So in new plantations, this will help people to identify, or in greenhouses to identify which individuals can be used for plantations can guarantee better results. This is going on, and we hope for the middle of next year to have these markers finished and to develop some kind of chip where we can validate quite fast and quite easy and quite cheap all the plants that would be produced in greenhouses. And finally, this will, of course, contribute for our strategy of sustainability, because we need this to improve the raw material and to make it more attractive. And of course, these are some key figures that we are proud of, but we need and we want to improve them and to make them grow, because we are always reaching for the 100 and that's our strategy. There are some important strategies and approaches that we are still following, but in the end, I think we all agree that using cork also protects the planet, and that's the final message I would like to leave to you. And thank you once again for the opportunity to share our projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you, José Pedro Fernandes. It was a very nice presentation, and I'm quite happy to see that now you are in the field, not just buying cork, but helping people to produce cork and so on. I fully understand your message that in the old days, there was just people expecting for 9 years to change his car when selling the cork.
Unfortunately, there are some people like that today yet, but
they don't fit with the renting cars. The renting cars is 4 years and 4 years, and these guys, they have a problem on changing the car. But anyhow. Okay, so now we are in a Q&A session, and ladies and gentlemen, prepare for tough questions. The audience is asking tough questions to all of us. And for IKEA, starting João Martins, who was here introducing myself and being a member of Tecnicelpa, is asking a question: what bio-based materials besides wood-based ones? And a second question: is second-hand market growing? No. Do you have?
Okay, let me try to tackle that one. When it comes to bio-based materials, we try to categorize our non-wood-based materials. Okay, so we have I would say our principal raw material is wood or wood-derived products, and then we have a category of products with basically plastics, okay, or things that are essentially plastic, like ABS, like PEs, like HDPE, and our goal is to not eliminate as per se, at least not right now. We need a roadmap to make it happen, meaning that the fossil-based components of our products are literally being replaced by other alternatives. The main substance here should be the packaging materials, especially the films that we use in our unit loads. Okay, so that's the first step, because it apparently is not significant, but when you understand the scale of the consumption of plastic film that we use in IKEA, it's a lot. So that's something that we need to, in the short term, try to phase out.
But no, from bio-based products, apart from wood, is there any other material that you are using, or? We
use some bio-based derived plastics right now. Okay, so we're introducing it to the ranges, to the products, so that we have a controlled test of what we're doing.
Okay, very good. Now a question comes from Celedonio Moncayo. Hello, Celedonio. Good afternoon to you. But this is a question for IKEA and also for Sonae. Formaldehyde. How important is the utilization of formaldehyde-free furnishing products? Nuno, you can start, and then Isabel.
We can do this both together. But yeah, formaldehyde has been an issue in the furnishing business for quite some time, and this has to be viewed as a balance between cost and also the what we assure that we can safely expose people to. This is not the correct part. The thing is, we know, and at IKEA we have a very strict form of compliance to quality and air quality and chemical exposure. It's much more stringent than European guidelines. Okay, and this for us has been in the top mind of our business, and with our partners like Sonae, we have been developing solutions not only in wood but also in surfaces like paper foils. Okay, so in terms of what Sonae does for us, we're working together to also mitigate that problem. And Isabel, it's your turn.
Isabel, now is your turn.
Yeah, that's true. The formaldehyde, and actually not only formaldehyde. People are very familiar with formaldehyde, but for the wood-based boards, the issue is VOCs overall, not specifically formaldehyde. But yes, that's true that many regulations in many countries and many areas, not only Europe, for instance, USA has a more strict regulation on formaldehyde than Europe. And we have customers like IKEA, but not the only one, several others that export to different areas of the world. And we need to ensure that our boards comply with the regulations of those specific geographies. So either it is on formaldehyde or it is on the complete emission of VOCs. For instance, just for you to have an idea, last year, Germany decided to cut by half the limit of formaldehyde emission on the boards that are used in Germany. So they are twice the demanding in terms of formaldehyde regulation. And to answer specifically to the question of the effort being done, the effort is measured by the success, meaning we are still in the business and we are allowed to put the products in the market very successfully. But it's true that is a huge effort, and sometimes we do need to have very difficult quality controls and the solutions that are expensive, and not only expensive and difficult to manage also. To deliver those products, but fortunately, and with all the knowledge that we have, we are able to follow the regulations. Either it is the CARB in USA, the E1 in Europe except Germany, E05 in Germany, F4 stars in Japan, for instance. So it's something that our products need to be adjusted also to fit those requirements. And also maybe something that the generic consumer doesn't know, fitting those requirements affects in the end the quality of the product, because sometimes we could easily fit those requirements, but the product would not fit the purpose. You would have in your house a piece of furniture that would not fit the purpose. You would put some books in a shelf and it would bend totally, but it would be very good in terms of formaldehyde emissions. So the challenge for us is to combining everything. Like I said before, fitting for purpose is key, and we need to fit with the compliance of formaldehyde requirements.
Okay. Isabel, other tough questions for you. Why radiata pine? This is imported directly from Chile and from Arauco people, or there's another reason?
Yes, for sure. We are, as we are a company that comes from a joint venture between Sonae and Arauco, two companies that have a very big experience, but in the forest side, Arauco has a bigger experience. In fact, the knowledge that Arauco has in terms of genetic studies of the pinus species had an influence in the species selected for this project. But in fact, we call it radiata in the name of the project, but it's not only radiata species that are being used. Some maritime pine is also being used in this study. And those were the variations of the species that were better known by our shareholder, also Arauco, and we took advantage of the knowledge already existing instead of starting from scratch.
Good. Now, as you are in the forest side, let's go to João Pedro. And João Pedro, did you get some information or some knowledge from what the eucalyptus people has been doing on improving the performance of the eucalyptus trees and so on? Did you get some information from there? Was this important for designing your project, or you just start from scratch and that's it?
No, of course we have, and I used to work also with eucalyptus a few years ago during my PhD, and also with Raiz and some other research parts related to eucalyptus. Eucalyptus has a very good strategy for this kind of plant improvements and plant development, but they have an advantage that I don't want to put this in a bad manner, but makes the work easier because it's a very fast growth species. So it's easy to develop and to make studies and to make evolutions in all the processes associated with eucalyptus. More than that, moreover, they have another advantage because eucalyptus is a species that is spread worldwide, and we are confined to this little spot in the Mediterranean basin. So there are not so many people doing research and working with cork oak. And then this advantage of the slow growth is not that attractive for some short-funded projects, let's say it like that. And we had to learn from them because they have actually a very good program, an improvement program that came several years ago. And we are doing some kind of a similar strategy, a similar improvement strategy they did on eucalyptus, but adapted to our reality, to the cork oak reality, to different growth rates, different distribution, different research teams. We have to search a lot of different people to be involved in this kind of research. We are working with Spain, we are working with teams in Portugal, in companies, private companies also, but we are doing something. That's the important. I think we obliterated or we forget this kind of approach for a few moments during our company history, but now we are doing in full speed, and we, like I said, for this kind of ambition, we predict that we'll have these varieties, these lines in 3 years. That I think it would be amazing if we can accomplish this goal that we put it to ourselves. So, but yes, we did drink a bit from the eucalyptus and the eucalyptus sector in this kind of strategy.
Robert, you need a lot of cork to supply to the Chinese wine producers, huh?
Yeah.
Wine drinkers. Isabel, for you it's just tough questions, huh? This one from João Martins. How to measure the impact of emotionality on customers' preference and on sales?
Well, the question is not difficult. Doing it is actually difficult. But
okay.
Yes, we all know it plays a role. It's being said all over the place, and we all know it at the end. When you go and buy a piece of furniture for our house, we all know that emotion plays a role. And if you go back, that will go to the board in the base of it. But how we try to identify how much it weighs is a little bit part of the work of our design managers in the collection. They do. I explain briefly the process that can help understand. Our design collection colleagues, they work in interpretation of the design itself. They look to a decorative, to a design, and they understand. They receive the message. They understand how they might feel when it becomes a piece of furniture or the covering of a wall, and then they do his own interpretation. They put it as an option in the initial selection of the collection, and they do specific events that are cyclic in the company. They do it with target customers, they do it with our sales colleagues, and they try to gather their feedback also. They put everything, and they do, for instance, a tool that is now very used in design, which in this kind of work, which is the mood boards. The combinations to understand how it makes people feel. Like you put 10 decors on the table and you say, please build a combination that transmits you happiness, and they will understand what people select for that combination. At the end, based on all those feedbacks, they select the decors for the collection, and they go and present the collection to the people that are selecting them to use in our customers, and they see how much they buy in the end. They try to deliver a feeling, but at the end also a product. And we try to cross our sales with what we were expecting. That would be the emotions driving the buy. And when we do the refreshment of the collection, we take those inputs of the sales already done to select the most interesting decors to reinforce that message. So it's a cyclic process.
Okay, thank you. There's another question here to Nuno Santos. Is again about mixing up plastic and wood, and how is it possible to reuse, recycle, and so on. It's your tough life.
It is our tough life.
Plastic I think you already give some answer, but please go ahead with this.
This is very specific. Yeah, this is a very specific case. We seldomly combine wood with plastic in such a way that we can't unfuse them. Okay, this usually happens with PP foils only. Okay, and that's a very small subsection of what we do. When it comes to surface treatments, we use either paint, okay, or paper foils. And those paper foils are absolutely harmless when it comes to doing some recycling on those materials. What we do need to do is take what we call the edge bands, which are basically strips of ABS plastic that cover the sides of the panels. Okay, so we strip those away, and then we can recycle the boards easily. Okay, and so that's the easy answer, let's say.
Okay. Okay, there's a question here from Cristina Marques. I would like to know if you have fire-resistant house coatings. I don't know who can answer this question. Isabel, maybe you.
I believe that's targeting us. And if when we talk about house coatings, and since we have a constructive system, that might be a bit unclear. For the outside of the of the construction solution, the material is not ours. The system uses the typical coverings of the walls on the outside. Okay? If we are speaking about the inside of any room, we do have boards with improved fire reaction that are used many times, are even a requirement if we are talking about public buildings. If you are, for instance, if you are building a university, an auditorium, many times the surfacing of the walls is done with wood for a matter of comfort and also for acoustics, and the boards used are with improved fire resistance behavior. We do have both in MDF and particle board.
Okay. And a question about cork from. So this is to José Pedro Fernandes. How cork can resist the impact of new bio-based materials that can menace or replace cork markets? This,
Okay.
João is putting tough questions.
Yeah. No, these are actually the questions that we need to clarify and answer, because first of all, I'm not quite sure what kind of bio-based materials are menacing cork markets, because I find it difficult, even bio-based materials that will be using or would be used as cork stoppers. We can, if we are talking about cork flooring or cork insulation, yes, there are different types of materials. We have two companies here. We have Sonae that produces also cork, also flooring. We also use wood in our flooring. They also use cork. Okay, there's this kind of partnership. They actually, this is not a menace. These are market niches that both can occupy. In terms of cork stoppers by themselves, there were in the past a few menaces from the screw caps and the aluminum industries and some plastic kind of cork stoppers, but they were never a menace. I don't know if there are any I don't know any bio-based materials that can be used to replace cork stoppers, and thus being the huge volume of cork in our company, I don't think there is a menace from bio-based materials. I think there is an opportunity to use bio-based materials and to incorporate them in our materials, like in different kinds of composites that can be used in different kinds of glues that can be used to produce technical corks. And that would be, like Isabel and Nuno said, replacements for different types of glues and different types of chemicals that are being banned or being making people more awareness of their presence, and then they can be used. I think bio-based materials are actually an opportunity and not a menace to cork.
Okay, thank you. Again to José Pedro. Now, political question from Carlos Vieira. Hello, Carlos. What about co-plantation of cork trees and eucalyptus?
Yes.
This is really political, huh? Go ahead.
Actually, it's a very smart one. Yes, why not? We have these kind of systems, these plantation systems already in the field. We have mixed plantations, but not only with eucalyptus, with a lot of different types of species. With truffles, we have a project with truffles to make it more profitable and fast, to have the forest owner return an income faster than it would be with only cork. We have with pinus, with eucalyptus, with truffles, with mushrooms, with a lot of different species that can be combined in these plantation systems, and they can be replaced in 2 or 3 cycles, like the eucalyptus, easier, and the cork oak trees can remain there. So there are systems, and we are perfectly aware that this can be used, can be a synergy for both species without problem.
Okay, José Pedro. Thank you. Nuno Santos, I think the majority of our audience doesn't know exactly how do you work. You are, let's say, IKEA is around the world. If you are in, I don't know, there's always an IKEA magazine or whatever. But on the production side, do you have factories the design is done inside the company, is outside? Can you elaborate a little bit more on how this works, the design of new things and the production of new things?
Yeah. So basically, the IKEA group is roughly divided into three main sections. Okay, one section is retail. Okay, so IKEA retail, which basically controls all the franchise and all the design choices. Okay. Then you have procurement, which is IKEA sourcing, that places those projects within the categories so that they can source the products. Okay, and there's IKEA industry that makes up, I would say, about 40% of the wood-based products that you see in an IKEA store. So when it comes to the design itself, okay, and how to create something in terms of design and functionality, you're talking about IKEA retail, okay? And if you're talking about materializing that into a product, okay, then you're talking about IKEA industry or other suppliers, okay? And there's this one in the middle, okay, that actually makes that happen. They source the materials, the products from either IKEA industry or other suppliers, okay? So we at IKEA industry, we specialize in getting those design cues from our cousins at retail and then transforming them according to their requirements into product.
Thank you. No, I think we don't have any more questions from the audience, but Isabel, a special one for you. When I was in Sonae, there was a discussion to have a forest department or not to have a forest department, to invest on the forestry or not to invest on the forestry, and so on. Nowadays, I realize that you are working on research and development with the pine tree. Is there an idea of investing in the forest also, or is just to support the forest owners and to help them on producing more and being more, getting more cash from the forest?
Well, something never changed, apparently, since you have been here, because the discussion is always on. And as a dynamic company, I think that is normal. That is, people have different opinions, and is something that always a topic that is on the table. So I believe that both options are still being discussed on the board and on the direction of the company. For sure, supporting with knowledge and with better knowledge the producers will for sure happen. Direct investment is something that for sure is under analysis, and that it's being discussed. I believe that some of the fields where this is being studied, this is being studied, are rented or owned by us or by partners. So I think that is something that is still being built, and I believe that the outcome of this project will be a good input for the final decision on that, on the future of the company in what regards the forest area. But we have recently also hired several colleagues to work on that area. Also shows the commitment of the company in the future of our forest area.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So I think now is the time to close this session, to thank all the speakers for the very nice presentations and the way you enlighten us about what has been done in the wood-based industry. And thanking Tecnicelpa for organizing all these events, and inviting you to be with us next Wednesday, I think, where we are going to talk about packaging and recycled products, and probably the plastics will be again on the table. Thank you all, and especially thank you the speakers. you have been performing very, very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.